unless your core, your foundation, your original state itself is infinite, was infinite. And the next you need to understand, if your Jiva was infinite, it has to be infinite even now. And almost every tradition accepts that Jiva manifested from Ishvara. The relationship varies. Advaita gives a different relationship between Jiva and Ishvara. It says it is pure oneness.
We've dropped in on beautiful satsang by Swamiji on the Ishvara, Jagat, and Jiva, and that they are all akshaya, they are all infinite. So to understand this, there's an important point Swamiji is making at the moment between the Ishvara. Ishvara defines like the God, the divine, and that we can kind of relate to. That's akshaya. That's like completely infinite and continuing. And then Jiva, which is the individual soul. Now, Swamiji is saying we are also infinite with the individual soul. That can be a bit harder to understand if we're used to being told this is our only life, this is it. Now, put it into this life or it's not going to happen. So, how that relationship between Jiva and Ishvara happens according to different traditions is what Swamiji is explaining right now.
Dvaita gives a different relationship. No, it is complete two different entity. Visishtadvaita gives a different relationship. No. In the beginning, when you are in delusion, in Maya, under Maya, it is two separate, and when the Maya reduces, Maya loses its power over you, it becomes one. Various. Shuddhadvaita describes the relationship in a different way. Various Upanishads, Shastras describe the relationship in a different ways, but all of them agree. Jiva manifested from Ishvara.
So this is the crux, like regardless of how we see ourselves as not yet divine, or yes, we're a divine being having a human experience, or a different tradition is until we are divine, until we have reached our enlightenment, we are separate from the divine in some way. So there are these different traditions, but at the heart of it is we are a part of the, not a part as in one word, separate, but one piece of the divinity that is Ishvara, the God. We are formed from that. That is our source. So if our source is infinite, we are infinite.
So understand, Ishvara is infinite. How can anything finite manifest from infinite? No. That is why the first verse of the first Upanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad, starts with Purnamata Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. This is a Shanti mantra of Ishavasya Upanishad. From Purna comes out the Purna. And Purna exists as Purna even after the Purna came out of Purna. So
We are part of the divine, even when if we think of it as coming out of the divine, we are still part of the divine. We are still that more than just a physical collection of atoms and molecules and piece of skin and some hair, and we just need to think of how we are composed of so many functioning parts. We have functioning digestive system. We have functioning breathing functions through to providing us with energy. It's the effectiveness with which all those operate, and at the same time we have the ability to have huge mental capability and spiritual divinity in relationships, kindness, love. It's we're definitely more than just a few molecules collected. We are from the original divine source.
how can finite come out of infinite? Jagat is infinite even if you start logically understanding the known universe is less than 0.0000000000001%. All known universe which you can know and which you can imagine. This is what is the conclusion by the modern day scientists. I can give you 100 reference. The known universe and the universe you can imagine, even with your quantum physics theories of parallel universes, multiverses, with all of these theories, whatever you can perceive or imagine, all of it put together is less than 0.000000001%.
And we are so good at patting each other on our back about, oh, we understood something else about quantum entanglement, or let's do another CERN experiment where we throw some more atoms around in a frantic pace and understand the fundamental pieces of the universe. And we're still only on this tiny, tiny, tiny proportion of knowledge of everything around us. We can imagine on the other scale, like going really vast out into the space. We can deduce. Well, some lights bend around before they come to us. There must be a really big black hole out there somehow, and then we can try and map the universe, use all our computing skills, and we're still only on such a tiny, tiny, tiny proportion of knowledge of everything that's happening out there. And this is knowledge. Swamiji's knowledge is based on the original Vedas and Agamas, on the original observations made by the rishis and what was given to them as knowledge, the sages of old. And this knowledge has kind of been rediscovered in science. And we've got a way to go if we only have knowledge of such a tiny, tiny fraction. But let's see what else Swamiji reveals.
Anoraniyan magato mahiyan jivas sada shakti madassa eva Satyam vatto mukta iva pratitah swatmanam nyatva shivatam rachet. Jiva is subtler than the Atman atom, greater than the great, ever the embodiment of Shakti. Through it appears, though it appears to be eternally bound, by ignorance it is liberated, knowing its true self, which is Akshaya, Akshaya, which is its Shivahood. The Sarvanyanottara Akamas, Mokshapada, 5th canto, 7th verse. It says, knowing that it's Shivahood, Shivatam, Nyatva Shivatam Vrachet.
So even in the old scriptures, we have descriptions on what is infinite and what is then also infinite, because we are part of that whole Shivahood that is the source of everything.
Knowing its Akshayatva, infinite, knowing itself as infinite, it is liberated. Listen. Jagat, which you can perceive, imagine, all put together, is only less than 0.0000001% of the actual Jagat exists. So it is literally infinite. If you even read Shastras, or even if you don't believe in Shastras, just read some of the scientists' references. I'll give you some references now. All the stars, planets, galaxies that can be seen today make up to just 4% of the universe. The other 96% is made of stuff astronomers can't see, detect, or even comprehend. These mysterious substances are called dark energy or dark matter.
Because we can't see it, because we can't comprehend it, we give it the name of dark. Actually, maybe it should be called light. How do we know that it's only sort of darkness in our head? and it could actually be the source of everything. It could be the, the real matter that we need to be aware of, from which everything else around us, like the world around us, Jagat, ourselves, Jiva, from all that we know may arise from this so-called dark, I'm going to call it light matter. And if we come with an open view in terms of what it could be, this thing that is so pervasive and 96% of everything that's around us, are we approaching Ishvara? Are we approaching huge attribute of God, of Shiva, Paramashiva, that is exactly all around us? So, sorry, atheists, there's a bit more out there than you're allowing for it to happen. So scientists are on to that. There's so much we don't know yet. Swamiji is telling us the scriptural references exactly explaining what all these things are. Thank you.
Astronomers infer their existence based on their gravitational influence on what little bits of the universe can be seen. But the dark matter and the energy themselves continue to delude all deduction. overwhelming majority of the universe is, who knows, explains the science writer Richard Panek, who spoke about these oddities of the universe, of our universe in his lecture in city of New York.
So scientists are openly admitting, who knows, these are oddities, calling it oddities, and it's really just something we give a name to because we don't have a name for it. So we call it dark, we call it odd. It actually, really it could be light, it could be the source, it could be precise explanation of so much. So, and Swamiji's giving us the scripture for it. So it's really eye-opening science to follow Swamiji.
It's unknown for now and possibly forever. That is what is scientists are repeatedly saying. You can just Google and see how big is the universe, and you can, even if you don't believe the Shastras, read what scientists are saying about the universe. It is infinite. Jagat is infinite. Listen, when you start cognizing Jagat is infinite, all your fears about death will just disappear, dissolve. It will become irrelevant.
Is our fears becoming irrelevant? The pressure that we feel about tomorrow, the next day, and including the past, have I done enough? Am I going to be able to do enough? That drops as well. We have ability, we have time, we have infinity available to us in terms of Ishvara, the divine, is Akshaya, is infinite. Jagat, the world around us, is infinite. There are infinite resources available to us, around us. And we ourselves, Jiva, we are infinite. So where is the pressure then to achieve everything yesterday? Yes, be busy, but needing to kind of do a breakneck pace for things that are there as though they're not going to be there. That's a bit confused. If we act as though things are going to run out, as though life is going to run out, as though the universe is going to run out on us, that is a pressure and a stress and a constant feeling that time is running away from us. If we get to the cognition of infinity, what's available to us is infinite, and we are infinite, and our divine guidance is infinite, we can live in such a space of blissfulness and relaxed inner space. That is such a contrast to stressed living.
You will not have the greed to exploit Jagat and quickly finish enjoying.
That greed of exploiting Jagat is exactly where the whole environmental degradation is coming from. The whole lack of sustainable production, sustainable treatment of the earth, of short-term grabbing, short-term exploitation, mining, to mining where it's destructive to, in how it's implemented, destruction of natural forests and all the orangutans losing habitat, losing life. That is from that short-term greed. Everything I have to do is now. There's no understanding of how infinity is available to us.
That stress generated by the greed will dissolve the moment you know Jagat is infinite. Same way, when you know Jiva is infinite, your fear that you need to finish enjoying everything within this one life will disappear. This fear and greed generates the violence to exploit further your interest at any cost. Asura means who furthers his existence and his interest and his life at any cost.
Exactly the source of the wars, the source of all the fear and greed about my neighbor. If I don't, they will take. If I don't shoot first, they will steal from me. I have finite resources, I need to take theirs. It's actually quite a sad statement, but Asuras is the lead happening in so many parts of the world. We see too many countries to name, and also the very sad too, but let me name Israel as one, for all the reasons that happen and built up, and all the history of how individual days happened, individual events happened. How much is in that space also driven by this Asura tendency of I should get what I want at any cost. And that is really sad. To live like that is actually so destructive. And as Swamiji is telling us, it's not needed, it's not true. It's based on a false cognition that I am temporary and finite. The world is finite and temporary around us. It's finite, so I have to grab. And basically saying, even the divine. And that's where, if you say that everything else is finite, then you're reflecting that on your belief of the divine as well. That's where we start falling down as a humanity. Because humanity needs to step up to its divinity, its infiniteness.
You become Asura when you believe your Jiva is finite. All religions which teaches your soul is finite and you have only one life or just few life. This one life theory is the reason for Asuratva.
We think, oh well, there's religion, and you can believe something in religion, and then you can actually practice your public life, your politics, your management of big companies, completely independent of these of religious beliefs, and yet exactly our inner beliefs create us and how we act. And if through how our inner beliefs are, we become asuras. Everything is permitted in the name of I get what I want. We have become so, asura.
That at anyone's cost, at any cost, even at the cost of the nature, even at the cost of the earth, even at the cost of the prakriti, you just further your interests and your life, which is asuratva. The terrorism, militant missionaries and missionary militants, both conversion and terrorism, both is established on the concept of soul is finite and the life is only one, or just few hundred years. This one life theory, which is delusion and false, not Paramasatya, not even Satya in the Vyavaharika level. Forget about the Paramarthika. Even in the Vyavaharika level, it's not Satya. That one life theory forces human beings to further their interests at any cost.
So Swamiji has explained why we have wars, why we have greed, why we have fear. My interest should come first, and too many people say, regardless of any cost. And that is the source of war, that is the source of fear and greed playing out in the society, of all the negative things where they are different to I do to others what I want them to do to me. No, people are acting on this asuratva, the state of asura, where they chase what they want, regardless of cost around them. And that's what has brought the world to the state it is. So, ending on that note, thank you, Swamiji.